Hello, Tim Gavel here from the Region Media Group with this week's Sports Report. Alongside me is Ben Faulks, founder and chairman of Ray White Canberra. Now, Ray White Canberra, as you may have seen with the Brumbies on the weekend, had Ray White right across the front of the jersey. They've become the major sponsor of the Brumbies men's and women's sides, which is the first in Brumbies history, which is great to see, sponsoring both the men's and the women's. Alongside me is Ben Faulks, and Ben, it's great for the organisation to be involved in sport at this level.
Yeah, wonderful, Tim. Very exciting for us, obviously, to be on the front of jersey and bringing the men's and the women's sponsorship together. For us, I guess it's part of what we see as the responsibility of being a local business is investing back into the local community.
What was the reason for doing it? Obviously, you've got a history yourself with rugby union. You're part of the academy, part of the runners at the Brumbies, had aspirations to play for the Brumbies at one stage. So was that part of it?
Yeah, you're taking me back a bit there, Tim. That feels like a lifetime ago. Look, very much, and personally it's part of that passion for the sport. And I guess when you're around a sport like that a lot, you realise when you reflect what it's given you in terms of those friendship groups, that sense of community. And I think it's important that we're looking to foster and maintain that, particularly in these times when we're a bit more disconnected. It's what can you do to bring people back together? And I think sport, particularly when it flows down to community sport, is a really, really important part of that.
What about the women? What was the reasoning behind that?
Well, again, there's a personal link. My sister-in-law, Shelley Millwood's been a stalwart of the women's program, but through that association I came to understand the very grassroots gap even for the players representing Super W. So we'd previously agreed a separate sponsorship with the Super W team, which provided funds directly to the players to help support them in playing rugby. Some of them drive, hundreds of kilometres to make training and games. So we want to continue the conversation about bridging the gap. It's got a long way to go. But this was a way of, from our perspective, just raising the profile of the women's game and really aligning them with that professional level. Hopefully to continue the conversation, as I say, about where that can get in the future.
So you'd like to see, obviously, women's rugby get even more profile, more funding, so that some of these players can become full-time players like the men?
Yeah, definitely, and it's got a long way to go, and it's the start of the conversation. But I think when you're around the women's rugby team, they are passionate rugby players. They're active in their clubs, they're active in their communities, and to me, being with the women, it kind of takes me back to a lot of what my early experience with rugby was, where it's kind of, people around the oval, having a beer together, really celebrating the fact that you're playing sport. Not necessarily in that very professional, organised environment where the men's game has gone naturally with the way it's evolved.
Just finally, I guess sponsorship very important for community sport in particular here in Canberra, but also the professional codes such as the Brumbies. What do you hope to get out of sponsoring the Brumbies men's and women's sides, just so that I guess other people potentially who are looking at sponsoring teams and sports here in Canberra, what do you get out of it?
Well, for us, we are a local business. We're a locally owned and operated franchise, whereas Ray White is the biggest real estate company in Australasia. So for us, it was part of sharing the story with the local community that we are Canberra-based, that we're invested in Canberra, and we want to see Canberra thrive. And at the same time, that we want to be invested and partner with organisations that play a role in the community sport. So for us, we'd like to raise the profile of our brand in Canberra, share some of our successes with the community, and make sure that we're seen as somebody who's committed to the region for the long term.
Good on you, Ben. Great to see Ray White on front of the Brumbies jersey on the weekend. And of course, the Brumbies came away with a nail-biting win at the end against the Western Force. Down here with me was Ben Faulks, founder and chairman of Ray White Canberra. This is Tim Gavel for the Region Media Group.